as we've been talking about throughout the day, is celebrating Human Rights Day, but not everyone is happy. The Public Service and Commercial Union says politicians are using events like today to steal, lie and prey on the poor. For more on this, we're joined now by the Union Secretary General, Tahir Maepa. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Maybe just share with us what exactly your concerns are when it comes to commemorative events of this nature and politicians going out to various communities to not only engage them, but to be part of the commemoration events.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for having me. Our concern is the concern that we've always had, and is the same concern that many communities have. That says that we commemorate events like Human Rights Day that are the bedrock of our struggle, where a lot of people have lost their lives in order for us to have a better prospects of the future. However, we have seen in the past 28 years or so that the majority of our people are still living in squalor. The majority of our people are still unemployed. Majority of our youth have no access to proper education. Majority of our people are struggling in many respects. And yet, year after year, we are called upon to go to these events, to go and listen to political speeches with promises that are never realized. And what we are saying is that enough is enough. If speeches don't translate to action and to the betterment of our people's livelihoods and lives, those speeches are useless. Like the speech that we listened today is the very same speech or script that we have listened from the same president promising LGBT communities that they are with them whilst they are dying on a daily, they are being abused on a daily basis, and nothing has been done. And all these things that he keeps on raising are things that people are experiencing on a daily basis without change. And we think that, you know, this facade needs to end.
No, absolutely. I mean, one of the things that President Cyril Ramaphosa made reference to in his speech is that our people on the African continent and in South Africa as well have been humiliated for over 350 years because of the gross injustices that black people were forced to face. And when I was listening to that, Tahir, and your way in here, I wondered, are we still not being humiliated given that many of us still don't get our basic services that we are actually entitled to as basic human rights in the country?
Absolutely. You know, to be humiliated and to be done wrong by a regime that hates you, it's one thing. But it's something else to be humiliated by a regime that you have put into power. I think our people are really sitting in a fix, and that is why you'll see that majority of our people are no longer going to vote, because they've realized that they've been taken for a ride by our own leaders whom we thought they struggled with us, they understood our pain, and then they will do justice by us. Our people are in the worst condition, and I'm not making any reference or comparison to what happened to apartheid. Apartheid was a horrific thing, but you know, the pain of being marginalized and being done wrong by your own government, it's far more painful than the sledgehammer that was put on our heads by apartheid government. So as far as I'm concerned, truly speaking, we need to reach a point where we are saying that politics and politicians cannot be allowed to continue like this. These are the same people who can account over 1.3 trillion of our own money that has just disappeared. Our monies have been stolen on a daily basis by the same government that expects us to listen to them when they make these noble speeches, but that are basically painted with hypocrisy, because that's all that it is. It is hypocrisy at its core. They've never done anything that really we can really be proud of in this day and age. For instance, we as unions, I mean, President Cyril Ramaphosa himself, he rode into power on the bedrock of the workers. What have workers achieved so far under his administration? Majority of workers lost their jobs under his administration. Majority of our youth are unemployed under his administration. Majority of our people are queuing for 350 rand under his administration. When we have lost 103 trillion of money that could have made our lives better. So there's no way that we should continue buying into this rhetoric, which is based on lies and preying on us and the poor people of this land.
In the issue, and I'm glad you bring it up, the issue of workers and really just their plight not being listened to in terms of the way they're treated in their different workplace, those who still have jobs. You've mentioned that many have lost their jobs over the last few years. You do talk about alliances, but you don't necessarily agree with them. So in the absence of government being the backbone for the workers and taking care of them as best as they can, why shouldn't we have alliances and be working with other unions?
Look, the alliances that I'm referring to, I'm saying that there was a time for alliances between unions and political parties in order to fight a common enemy, which was apartheid. Now, in this day and age, there's no reason for any union to be in alliance with any political party. Yes, we must work together for the betterment of our people, but alliance and these kinds of dealings that we are seeing where workers are being compromised just for expediency to make sure that certain people are placed into political offices, I'm saying it has to come to an end. And we are saying to the workers, this is the time where you must decide whether you want to continue living under these circumstances or serve your divorce papers with any union that is in alliance with political parties, because they have demonstrated not once, not twice, for years that these alliances are not based on a mutual benefit of the workers, but it is only the leadership and the politicians who have really benefited from these kinds of alliances. We need to be independent and confront this government as the employer, just like any other employer, and we must be free of the chains of the previous struggle credentials. They are not paying the bills in this day and age.
No, absolutely. So so when we celebrate or commemorate these days, and you're saying we don't want to be hearing from politicians reading lengthy speeches, what would you like to see happen? Because there needs to be an acknowledgement of those who came before us, but you're saying there also needs to be tangible change in communities.
Absolutely. Firstly, there must be change. Secondly, it is high time that politicians, when they have these commemorations, by the way, from our own monies, these commemorations, it's not about them, it's about us. They need to listen to us. They need to listen to our plight. They need to listen to our suffering. They need to listen to the families of our martyrs who've been brutally killed by the previous system, who haven't seen a light of day in terms of justice even today under the same government. And it's about time that we need to start saying that if these commemorations are done and it's not about us, we need not be party to these kinds of commemorations, because of that money could best be used for our own advancement and to make sure that we improve our economic circumstances.
Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. That was Tahir Maepa, who's the General Secretary for the Public Service and Commercial Union of South Africa.